You are listening to the E2C Network, where the Auburn family speaks.
Morning, Auburn family, and welcome back to Inside the Jungle, your source for Auburn men's basketball analysis and discussion on the E2C Network. Today, Auburn falls to the Tennessee Volunteers in Thompson-Boling Arena in Knoxville, Tennessee, by the score of 67-62 to drop Auburn to 25-4 overall and 13-3 in the conference. Still on top, number one, and still set for a good final week to try and go win an SEC championship. But this one hurts. This one is tough, especially given the circumstances and given the outcome and just what happened in this game and how we lost this by 5 on the road to a good Tennessee team. But to do all that, to discuss it, brought in Dad and co-host again. Dad, this one stings.
Yes, it does. It always stings to lose to Tennessee. I'm not a big Rick Barnes fan since his time at Clemson, when he and my hero growing up, Dean Smith, got into a fight, got into a war of words. I've never been a Rick Barnes fan ever since then. So, but to lose to Tennessee on a day when everybody lost, everybody that was on the road lost, we could have been the number one team again. We're up 11 in the second half. If you hold on to that lead, Monday you're the number one team again. So
yeah, and let's talk about that real quick before we get into this Auburn and Tennessee matchup and this upcoming week for Auburn. Let's talk about what an anomaly of a Saturday in college basketball that was. The top 6 teams all lose on the road. I'm talking about Gonzaga lost to St. Mary's on the road.
By 10.
What in the world? Arizona got destroyed by Colorado on the road. Auburn loses by 5 at Tennessee. Purdue loses by 3 at Michigan State. Kansas loses to Baylor on the road. And Kentucky loses to Arkansas by 2 on the road. Whoa. That has never happened before. What just happened?
So you want to be an AP voter.
Yeah.
How do you handle this? Do you just leave it all the same?
You just keep it just like you did?
Forget it. They all lost. I'm not going to or do you put Murray State at number 1?
Might as well.
I would not want to be an AP voter this week, because it's like, well, so Auburn or Kentucky loses, so I can move them down. So, Auburn lost, so I can move them down. Oh, Purdue lost, so I can move that. Wait, who am I moving up over them? Yeah. And then Arizona lost. Holy cows! What am I? At least Gonzaga is playing in a high school gym and will win tonight, won't they? I mean, nope, they lose.
Yep.
And don't look good doing it either. So that was I've never seen anything like it. It's never happened before. But yeah, it was just weird.
You talk about the quality of losses in those top 6 teams all lost on the road. You talk about the quality of those losses. I think Gonzaga is probably the worst. I don't think it's close. I think Arizona's loss by 16 at Colorado is
bad.
Is really bad, but I don't think it's as bad as losing in a high school gym to a bunch of St. Mary players. So it's really, really bad. You talk about quality losses for the rest of those. I mean, you go with Auburn, the number 3 ranked team, at Tennessee. There's a strong possibility we could jump Gonzaga and Arizona after losing to Tennessee, because losing to a top 20 team, that's a much better loss. You talk about Kentucky losing to Arkansas on the road, like the way that they did, only 2. Auburn only by 5. That's a much better loss. Kansas lost the number 10 team in the country with Baylor. Not a bad loss. Purdue goes to Michigan State and only loses by 3. Not a terrible loss. No. Considering what the top 2 teams did in Gonzaga and Arizona. I don't know what they were doing. They just wanted to fit in.
Well, Gray, St. Mary's is ranked number 23 in the country. So they obviously are very good at what they do. I watched that game, and it really, it really was like watching a YMCA rec league team beat the crap out of the number 1 team in the country. It was like watching Chaminade beat Ralph Sampson years ago in the Hawaii thing.
You just said they were ranked the number 23 team. You know who's ranked number 24?
Who?
Alabama.
who, by the way, beat the heck out of a
Mississippi State.
out of a surging.
Out of South Carolina. That's right. They beat Mississippi State as well.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about both of those in a minute. But let's talk about this stinging. It's still just killing me. Just the way Auburn lost this game, only by 5 on the road at Tennessee. To Tennessee snaps the 6-game losing streak to Auburn in Thompson Bowling. But Auburn shoots 35%, shoots 20% from the 3-point line, 73% from the free throw line, gets out-rebounded by 23, 10 of 10, minus 10 on the offensive glass, minus 13 on the defensive glass, has 12 turnovers, which is nothing to Tennessee's 18.
12 turnovers, I could.
That's actually not that bad at all. But just the way you lost this game, and you had such good performances. Look, Jabari Smith and Katie Johnson had 2 of the better performances of their season. Jabari has completely solidified himself at number 1 in the NBA draft.
He should, yeah.
KD finally bumps out of a scoring drought that he's been going through, that we've been wanting to see him get out of and help this team surge more, just like he did in the Bahamas and in the beginning of the SEC play. But God, just everybody else. We didn't have another player score over 8 points. 8 points was Walker Kessler. He had 8 points and 5 rebounds. That's not what we're used to seeing from Walker. We're used to seeing about 12 and 14, or 12, with 10 rebounds, 10 or 11 rebounds. Zep doesn't score. Jalen doesn't score, and I'm not faulting Jalen. Played 5 minutes because you needed Jabari out there. Jalen didn't score. Devin didn't score. Dylan didn't score. We have 4 players that touched the floor that did not score. That's not going to cut it. That's just
Wendell
not.
Green,
Especially
Wendell Green shot 2 of 15.
Wendell, look, I don't understand Wendell Green right now, and I'm not. Look, kid's a great player, and he's going to be great for us. And he's going to be the reason that we win games.
He's already been the reason we've won games.
Absolutely. But he's also going to be the reason we lose games. And we've seen that in the past, and not blaming it all on Wendell, of course, because there are many other things that he couldn't control in this game. But 2 for 15, 1 for 7 from the 3-point line, only having 5 points in his 28 minutes at
all right, so let me point out the good in Wendell Green. We got out-rebounded by 23 rebounds. I can't even imagine a 2 fairly evenly matched teams, and one of them out-rebounds the other by 20-plus rebounds. It's unfathomable.
And it's not like they're a good rebounding team.
No. We've been out-rebounding everybody that we've been playing.
Yeah.
But what we needed, and what I kept screaming at the TV, was we need our guards to help rebound on the defensive end. We need our guards to help rebound. So I looked down. KD had a great game. He had 1 rebound. Zep had 1 rebound. Wendell Green had 5 rebounds.
Yeah. Which ties Walker Kessler.
Really helped us. Flanagan only had 3. He only had 1 defensive rebound. And I'm talking about defensive rebounding.
Yeah.
When you're not worried about balancing the court, you're worried about getting the ball. All 5 guys have got to go in and find a way to get in there and rebound. And Wendell does that. He's the littlest guy on the court, but he always seems to get 5, 6, 8 rebounds.
Absolutely.
So, I did not like his shooting. And I don't know if it's decision making at the end of
I think
the
it's
game,
shot selection.
That shot selection,
but I don't think that's just Wendell.
No,
I don't think that's just Wendell.
It's not. I will say I really liked what KD Johnson. You mentioned him earlier. What he did, because he went 7 of 13, but only 3 of those were threes. He doesn't look. Can he make threes? Yes. Do I want him to shoot open threes? Sure do. Yep. I don't want Devin to. No. I want him to, though. But I like Devin. I want KD Johnson downhill as hard as he can go, because he's a good free throw shooter, and they foul him a lot. They don't always get the call because sometimes he looks like he's out of control.
Yep.
But he got downhill. He ended up with 18 points.
Yeah.
18 points and a rebound. I just need him. I need him to help rebound. He is big. He's strong enough to rebound.
I agree.
If Wendell Green can get 5, KD Johnson can get 5. Okay. And if KD Johnson would have ended up with 4 more rebounds than he had, we win that game.
I agree, especially defensive rebounds, because the offensive rebounds for Tennessee in this game
it's awful.
It's the pointer where you look at to see what's the difference in the final score in this game, because you look at performances on the offensive end from KD and from that stud Jabari Smith.
Yeah.
You think Auburn would win this game because you look at the offensive performances from Tennessee and it's just not the same. It really isn't. I mean, you had 2 guys go for 13, a guy go for 14, and a guy go for 10. It's just not. It's more people contributing. And Bruce always said he wants more people contributing for Auburn. Mm-hmm. He said that's when we're better. But Jabari going for 27 and KD going for 18, both of them would be the leading scorer on Tennessee. But the difference in this game were those extra possessions that Tennessee got off those offensive rebounds.
Absolutely. And I don't blame KD for it. I hope I didn't come across as blaming KD for it. No. I'm just saying if he gets the same amount of rebounds as a Wendell Green does, we win.
Yeah.
So
the same thing goes with Allen or Devin.
If you get
or
4
Dylan.
more rebounds, 4 more rebounds, I'm willing to bet that several of those guys I know Chandler hit a 3 off of an offensive rebound that was passed back out. Mm-hmm. The easiest time to get a 3-point shot to go in is off of an offensive rebound when everybody's in and they flip it back out and you've got a wide open step into a 3. Yep. And they did that a couple times. And a couple times they missed that and got another rebound and passed it back out and made it. It was like rebounding is energy and effort. It's energy and effort. And I don't know why it seemed like and at least in the first half, Tennessee seemed like they wanted it more. And then we got hot and started playing well and went up by 11 in the second half. And I thought this ball game is done. Yeah. And then we got completely cold. And
we went about, I'm sorry to interrupt, but we went around 7 minutes without a field goal.
Oh.
Hey, Auburn fans, I want to take a quick timeout from this episode to bring your attention to something very special. Here at the E2C Network, we pride ourselves on bringing you the best content for Auburn fans out there. And best of all, it's free to you. But just because it's free doesn't mean there aren't costs, especially when you have a library of hundreds of podcasts, videos, blogs, and more. Many of you have reached out and asked how you can support this network in the past. Well, now I have your answer. It's called the E2C Network Booster Club over at patreon.com/E2C Network. There you'll find a membership monthly reward system where you can sign up for as little as $1 and get different perks at different tiers. Some of those perks include things such as apparel, eligibility to join us on future podcasts, recognition as an E2C Network booster, exclusive communications, and bonus content that is available nowhere else. If you love this network and want to help us keep producing podcasts like this one, please head on over to patreon.com/E2C Network to join the E2C Network Booster Club. You can also get there by going to our website, e2cnetwork.com/support. Whether you decide to join or not, we are still so appreciative that you would support us by just listening and being here, because each and every one of you is part of our E2C Network family. Well, that's it. Timeout's over. Let's get back into the episode.
Cannot win on the road when you go through those
stretches. Yeah, you go stretches that go through like that, and you're going to look at a game like Missouri. You're looking at a game like Georgia. This game is very similar to the game of Georgia. Mm-hmm. I know we won that game with Georgia. That's a much worse team that we were playing in Athens, but very similar to, the end of half was great. Jabari hitting that 3 to go up 6 at the end of the half was amazing. Then you go up by 11, just like you said, and it's like, okay, this should be finished. Just like when you went up by 15 against Georgia. But it wasn't, because you went stretches. In this case, a really long one stretch in the second half, in about that third quarter, that you scored the basketball. That lost you the game.
And during that time, it seemed like we took more and more threes, where Bruce Pearl's forgotten more basketball than would ever claim to know. But in my opinion, when you're having a hard time scoring, a KD Johnson and an Alan Flanagan needs to take the ball in the wing and drive to the bucket and get fouled and go to the line.
Yeah.
And a Jabari needs to drive in and go to the line.
Yeah.
We need to get the ball into Walker Kessler. And I love Walker Kessler. He is improved 1,000%. I need him to develop a hook shot.
Yeah.
He's a 7'2" guy. And if he develops a hook shot, he's unstoppable.
Right.
It's not even close. Nobody's going to be able to guard him if he can just the baby hook. And he's tried it several times and can't hit it. And he missed 2 or 3 of them the other day.
That's right. Look, this one's tough. This one's hard to swallow, but we're going to put it behind us and know that thanks to Arkansas, we still have a 1-game lead in the SEC. With 2 games to go, you win one of them, you get a guarantee share of the title.
Yeah.
You win 2 of them, nobody else is putting up a banner but you. It is all you. You win the outright championship. And those 2 are South Carolina, Mississippi State on Wednesday night at 8 in Start Vegas, and then South Carolina at noon in Auburn Arena on Saturday, March 5th. 2 games against 2 teams that have had very weird seasons. Mississippi State had a lot higher expectations on them in the preseason, really struggled in the non-conference, and then jumped out to a 3-1 start in the SEC. Maybe people were like, okay, maybe that team's starting to pick up together because they've got some talent and they've got some good transfers as well. So this is a team that could beat you, especially on the road with you losing your last 3 road games. This is not a pushover game. This is a good Mississippi State team, even though that they have really, really struggled down the stretch in the SEC. Look, the 5 games that they've won since starting that 3-1 in the SEC play are here. I'll figure it out right now. They started 3-1 in SEC play. They beat Arkansas at home, then they lost to Ole Miss, then they beat Georgia and Alabama. Then they lost to Florida. They beat Ole Miss at home, and then got blown out at Kentucky. Look, I'm just going to name the wins. They beat Ole Miss at home. They beat South Carolina at home. They beat Missouri at home. They beat Missouri on the road, and they beat Vanderbilt at home. So know that they have not had a big quality win since.
In a while.
Well, I guess you can say since Arkansas at home in late December.
But if y'all remember that Arkansas team, that was not the same Arkansas team that you saw yesterday.
Oh, no. That was the Arkansas team that lost to Hofstra and Bud Walton.
So they've got some good players. Garrison Brooks is a good big man from North Carolina. He and Walker will, I'm sure, have a good time talking to each other before the game. Is a good player. Their guard, number 1, I don't remember his name. He's fantastic. He is a really good basketball player. Yeah. And I look forward to watching Zap match up with him. Yeah. Because that'll be an entertaining matchup to watch. He's a really good player. And then they've got, like you said, some transfers who can play. And Howland is a good coach. The building is not that impressive, but hopefully there'll be more Auburn fans in it than State fans anyway.
That's right. There are scheduled 2 bus loads from the jungle right now to be at this Mississippi State game. And Chickens or Tea, if you can find a way, I know it's an easy drive from Birmingham. If you can find a way to get to Starkville for this game, the more the Auburn fans there, the better, because we need to make this as much of a home atmosphere as we possibly can, because we need these 2. We need these 2 wins to hang up a banner.
Yep. We need one of them to, but 2 of them to not let anybody else hang up the banner. I agree. I think I'd like to see them. I'd like to see us get some mojo back and go in and hammer Mississippi State and then hammer South Carolina and start getting some momentum headed into Tampa in the SEC tournament.
That's right. Let's cut the nets down next Saturday.
Yeah. That would be fun.
Yeah. And I'm excited for it as the SEC tournament will start the next week. And we are from today, we are 2 weeks away from Selection Sunday.
Yeah, we'll have a bracket this time next 2 weeks.
This time in 2 weeks, we'll know. We will know where we fit in the NCAA tournament. But we will be back to discuss. Let's do player of the game. I think this is easy. I think it's simple. I don't think we need to go separate. I know KD had a strong game, just like you said, 18 points, went 7 of 13 from the field. That's a good game. That's an efficient game from KD Johnson, something that we've been wanting to see more and more of. And when he does, it's so helpful and
helps so much.
Yeah. The impact of it is huge. But the player of the game is Jabari Smith. He solidified himself as the number one pick. I don't know how many times he has to do that for people to understand that he is the number one pick. Banchero's good. I understand that. Holmgren's not even close to either of those two. I don't know. Jaden Ivey's better than Holmgren right now. I'd take
considerably.
Way over. I'd probably take Holmgren fourth if I'm an NBA team compared to those three. I'd take Jabari. I'd take Banchero because of both of those guys' upside, and I'd take Ivey. He's a fantastic guard for Duke. And then that stick figure for Gonzaga. But
yeah, it's not close. It's Banchero or Smith.
Yeah. That'll
be the number one pick, depending on what the number one team needs.
I agree.
Coming into the draft.
Yeah.
But look, I've watched Chet Holmgren play Alabama, who bullied him and pushed him down and broke him. And Alabama is not even that much of a bully team, not that much of a physical team. But watching St. Mary's treat him like a fifth grader was interesting. He just doesn't have it. He needs another year in the college weight and strength conditioning program. I know he won't stay another year, but he needs that. Can I say one thing though?
Yeah, go ahead.
The dancing on the logo hubbub. Can we please stop? SEC Network. They're not dancing on the logo as disrespect. They're dancing before they go in the locker room. And the SEC Network came on, and I bet they said 5 times, well, Auburn was dancing on the logo here in Tennessee, and it made some of Tennessee fans mad. If you're so thin-skinned that a bunch of guys dancing basically just above the 3-point line, which Tennessee's logo extends from 3-point line to 3-point line almost. If that bothers you, or if you need that to get motivated to beat a team, you're in trouble. You're in trouble. So
I agree. And to add on to what you just said, look, somebody commented on Jabari Smith's Instagram post and said, y'all need to stop dancing on the logo. That's hurting us.
Bad luck it
was bad luck or was bad mojo or something.
Yeah.
And Jabari Smith responded to him saying, we're not dancing on the logo. We're just having fun. Either ride or die with us. We just want to dance.
Yeah.
There's no disrespect at all. And
not disrespect.
Network in the national perspective.
On our own logo at all.
Yeah.
If it was disrespectful, we wouldn't do it to
ourselves. Yeah.
Sorry. And by the way, KD Johnson's block was not a flagrant foul, and it was a clean block.
Yeah. It was a clean block.
By the way, that was a clean block.
It was a clean block. And Jabari Smith's 4-point play was the best play of the season.
Yeah, so far.
Yeah. We'll go ahead and get out of here. If you want to find either of us on Twitter, you can find me on Twitter at Gray Oldenburg. You can find him on Twitter at IAMCTO, or you can find the network on YouTube, E2C Network, or on Twitter at E2C_network. And until next time, War Eagle.
War Eagle.
Thank you for tuning in to today's episode on the E2C Network. On your way out, I want to remind you to stop by e2cnetwork.com. It's your one-stop shop for all our content across our podcast, YouTube channel, and much more. To stay up to date with us, make sure you're following social media accounts such as Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. While our content here may always be Auburn sports heavy, if it's orange and blue, it's what we do. War Eagle.